Good morning. How are you all today? Thank you all for viewing with us and welcome to Bible class with Andre and Betty. We're continuing our studies from the book of Judges and we're continuing chapter 9 and we'll begin at the 22nd verse today of Judges chapter 9. And we're looking at the men of Shechem and Abimelech who has plotted to make himself king over Israel and how this plot is going to work out to fulfill the prophecy that Jotham gave about Abimelech and the men of Shechem killing the sons of Jerubbaal or Gideon. And so we're continuing to focus on the subject, the plot backfires. And so beginning in chapter 9, verse 22, when Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, verse 23, then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dwelt treacherously with Abimelech. And so now Abimelech has reigned over Israel for 3 years. And then at the end of this 3 years, then the attitudes toward each other, Abimelech and the men of Shechem, changed. They became antagonistic toward each other. And they started plotting to scheme against each other. And the reason for that is verse 24. That the cruelty done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be laid upon Abimelech their brother, which slew them, and upon the men of Shechem, which aided him in the killing of his brethren. And so we're seeing the plot beginning to backfire. Verse 25. And the men of Shechem sent liers in wait for him, for Abimelech, in the top of the mountains, and they robbed all that came along that way by them. And it was told Abimelech, they told Abimelech what had happened with the men set in ambush. Verse 26. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, came with his brethren and went over to Shechem. And the men of Shechem put their confidence in him. Now the men of Shechem are putting their confidence in Gaal, the son of Ebed. Verse 27. And they went out into the fields and gathered their vineyards and trode the grapes, and made merry, and went into the house of their God, and did eat and drink, and cursed Abimelech. So these are men of Shechem being led by Gaal. Verse 28, and Gaal the son of Ebed said, who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem? Who is Abimelech, and who are we, that we should serve him, that Shechem should serve Abimelech? Is not he the son of Jerubbaal, and Zebul his officer? Served the men of Hamer, the father of Shechem. For why should we serve him? Why should we serve Abimelech? So the men of Shechem are becoming antagonistic toward Abimelech. Verse 29, and would to God, Gaal is saying to the men of Shechem, and would to God this people were under my hand. He's trying to rule over the people. Then would I remove Abimelech. And he said to Abimelech, increase thine army, and come out. Verse 30. And now he's challenging Abimelech. This is Gaul challenging Abimelech. Verse 30. And when Zebul, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaul, the son of Ebed, his anger was kindled. This is the general officer of Abimelech. He became angry. 31. And he sent messengers unto Abimelech privately or secretly, saying, Behold, Gaul the son of Ebed and his brethren be come to Shechem, and behold, they fortify the city against thee. They're gathering the city against you. 32. Now therefore, Zebul is saying to Abimelech, now therefore up by night, you and the people that is with thee, and lie in wait in the field. Verse 33. And it shall be that in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, thou shalt rise early and set upon the city. And behold, when he and the people that is with him come out against thee, then thou mayest do to them as thou shalt find occasion, saying, Abimelech should set upon the city against the men of Shechem. Verse 34. And Abimelech rose up and all the people that were with him by night, and they laid wait against Shechem in 4 companies. Verse 35. And Gaul the son of Ebed went out and stood in the entering of the gate of the city. And Abimelech rose up and the people that were with him from lying in wait. Verse 36, and when Gaul saw the people, he said to Zebul, Behold, there come people down from the top of the mountains. And Zebul said unto him, Thou seest the shadow of the mountains as if it were men, so you're delusional. You're seeing things, Zebul was saying to Gaul. Verse 37, and Gaul spake again and said, See, there come people down from the middle of the land, and another company come along by the plain of Meoneum. Verse 38. Then said Zebul unto him, Where is now thy mouth, wherewith thou saidest, Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him? Is not this the people that thou hast despised? Go out, I pray now, and fight with them. So now Abimelech has called your bluff. You want to lead the people, well, go out with your men against Abimelech and his men. Verse 39. And Gaul went out before the men of Shechem and fought with or against Abimelech. Verse 40. And Abimelech chased him, and he fled before him. And many were overthrown and wounded, even unto the entering of the gate. Verse 41. And Abimelech dwelt at Arubah, and Zebul thrust out Gaul and his brethren, that they should not dwell in Shechem. So now Abimelech has won in the war so far between himself and the men of Shechem. Verse 42. And it came to pass on the morrow that the people went out into the field, and they told Abimelech. Verse 43. And he took the people and divided them into 3 companies, and laid wait in the field, and looked, and behold, the people will come forth out of the city. And he rose up against them, and smote them, or defeated them, or attacked them. Verse 44. And Abimelech and the company that was with him rushed forward, and stood in the entering of the gate of the city. And the two other companies ran upon all the people that were in the fields and slew them. Verse 45. And Abimelech fought against this city all that day. And he took the city and slew the people that was therein, and beat down the city and sowed it with salt, or made the land unproductive and able to bear fruit. Verse 46. When all the men of the tower of Shechem heard that, they entered into an hold of the house of their god Bereth. Bereth is an idol god. Verse 47. And it was told Abimelech that all the men of the tower of Shechem were gathered together. And Abimelech got him up to Mount Zalmon, he and all the people that were with him. And Abimelech took an axe in his hand and cut down a bow from the trees, and took it and laid it on his shoulder, and said unto the people that were with him, What ye have seen me do, make haste and do as I have done. Verse 49, and all the people likewise cut down every man his bow, and followed Abimelech, and put them to the hold of the stronghold where the men of Shechem were hiding, and set the hold on fire upon them, upon the men of Shechem, so that all the men of the tower of Shechem died also, about 1,000 men and women. Verse 50. Then went Abimelech to Thebez and encamped against Thebez and took it. So he, after defeating Shechem, he's going to this other place. 51. But there was a strong tower within the city of Thebez, and thither fled all the men and women, and all they of the city, and shut it to them, and get them up to the top of the tower. Now we're going to see the fall of Abimelech. Verse 52. And Abimelech came unto the tower and fought against it, and went hard unto the door of the tower to burn it with fire. Verse 53. And a certain woman cast a piece of a millstone upon Abimelech's head, and all are so hard to break his skull. Verse 54. Then he called hastily unto the young man his armor bearer, this is Abimelech, and said unto him, Draw thy sword and slay me, that men say not of me, a woman slew him. He didn't want it said in his legacy that a woman killed him. And his young man thrust him through, and he died. But he died because of the woman of Thebez, the wise woman. Even though he didn't want this known, the Word of God is letting us know, and all who read the Word of God and study it, how Ahimelech, who had plotted against Gideon's sons and killed them, and Jotham's parable against what they were doing would come true. 55. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed every man unto his place or to his home. Verse 56. Thus God rendered the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did unto his father Gideon in slaying his 70 brethren. Verse 57. And all the evil of the men of Shechem did God render upon their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal. And so he had talked about the olive tree, the fig tree, the vine tree, being symbols of Gideon and his descendants, and how Abimelech was a bramble bush, and how he would take over the people of Israel. But they came to their defeat because the plot that Abimelech had done with Shechem, they ended up destroying each other, just as Jotham had said it would happen. And so this is the fulfillment of the parable that Jotham gave in this chapter. So, plots always end up being against the one who started the plot. So you all have a great day and a great week, and next week we'll continue on from the book of Judges. You all have a great day and a great week. Bye.